And you may well wonder, especially if you have never heard of me before, why me? Who may be? Well, as the flyer indicates, I was once a lecturer at the Department of Literature and English at UA Mona, and that was where I met Marguerite as a student. Of course, part of my job there was to enhance a student's understanding and appreciation of things literary, how writers use various techniques to convey their messages. I know that for many people, literature is the most boring of subjects. One time when I was registering at the UWI hospital, the clerk attending to me had to tell all his colleagues, and very loudly, that I was one of those horrid creatures responsible for the cruel and unusual punishment that is literature in school. Well, I don't know if anybody here shares those sentiments, but it is fairly certain that for Marguerite, the impact of literature was quite the opposite. She dedicates this book to a beloved English teacher, Anne Gervin, who, I quote, unmuted her voice. And so, I suppose it's no surprise that she has turned to another teacher for a commentary. In fact, as a teacher herself, she's a little concerned that the elements of the writer's technique should not go unnoticed. So it's that she asked me to talk about. Now, while I can understand and sympathize with that very teacherly concern, I think I should give you a warning that I may disappoint in that regard. Since I'm afraid that if my presentation begins to sound like a book of notes on literary devices, we shall surely begin to get that painful schoolroom feeling. Moreover, I suspect that we, gathered here, are very likely not those who need the study guide to appreciate the poems. So I will tell you what the collection is like and share some features that I find striking, and I hope that these words and thoughts may be found useful. Poetry can be and has been many things. We use it, well, maybe I should pause. I've never liked to hear the sound of my own voice for a very long time. What we use poetry for?
Romance.
What is poetry to any of you?
Expression.
Rhythm, expression. Expression. Expression is the key thing. Okay.
Empowerment.
Anything else?
Empowerment.
Empowerment.
History lessons.
I heard something.
History.
History,
Oh, I said emotion.
emotion.
Culture.
Yeah. All of the above and more. We use it to express emotion, to capture memories, to entertain, to argue, like Osa did to tell me about some serious things, make us think, to paint pictures, and to heal. The poems in this anthology are deeply personal. In the introduction, Margaret tells us that growing up, she was not encouraged to speak her mind. And as a result, she, quote, had always turned to writing as a way of self-expression. So we might say that what we have in this collection is poetry as testimony. Writing is clearly a way of not only capturing and documenting experience, but also working through it. The note of healing is struck from the very start with a quote from Psalm 147. He heals the brokenhearted. The first of the 5 sections of the book is titled My Heavenly Father, and 3 of the 4 poems in it testify to the writer's deep faith and gratitude for God's grace in bringing her through the valley of the shadow of death on more than one occasion. The 4th poem is the first of those that for me are among the most poignant, as they express the pain of loss of loved ones stolen by death. I remember Mama, Daddy's promise, meet you by the river. In that poem, there is such an anguish in the contrast between the carefree, playful nostalgia of the childhood friendship and the trauma of the accident that puts an abrupt and unexpected end